Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our Freedom Summit. So glad that you guys are here. We really appreciate your time being with us, and I hope that's been very valuable for you and that you have just gained some new perspective. And today we're going to move into even more perspective shifts and things like that. Yesterday, we talked about self-assessment. We did an inventory of ourselves. What are we thinking? How are we responding to things? How do we talk to ourselves? And when we do kind of an inventory of ourselves, we usually find some things that we don't really like. And so, this can stem back to childhood or things that have happened in the past or things that we have done, others have done, circumstances, whatever it may be. So usually some things come up that we might not have worked through yet and that could use some forgiveness, some releasing, and things like that. So we walked through, how to actually truly forgive and let go of the past so that we are then free to move forward. So our summit is called Freedom. And sometimes I used to think that my freedom was going to come from something outside of me, from whenever I got the job or I had the kids or I finally got married or, the money came rolling in or, my health was better or whatever it was. I did not realize that so much of my freedom was going to start right within me, that I was the catalyst to the change that I was seeking. So, instead of having this external energy always looking for everything outside of us, if we turn that inside, because we are the one thing that we can change. We can change our thoughts. We can change our emotions. We can change the way we respond to things. And we actually have a choice. That was a chapter I wrote in our book, Manifesting with Purpose, was remember choice. I forgot how much choice I had in every aspect of my life. So I'm really excited today because once we've identified some things, how do we actually get out of that? Because we're never not thinking a thought. We're always thinking. We are never not ever attracting something or manifesting things. Manifesting simply means bringing thought into form. This is happening all day, every day, whether we realize it or not. So we may as well become aware of it and start to replace some of these thought patterns that have been going on in our mind with some new patterns that will create new results that we will take different actions from. So that's what I'm really excited to get into today here in a little bit. If you have not printed off your workbook, there's a workbook available for you. It's been sent to your email. If you'd like to print that off so you can take notes, because I talk kind of fast and the replays will be coming down on Friday. So if you'd like to jot anything down, we've made that available, and then you'll have your workbook forevermore. There's also discovery calls available. If you would like to just have a 30-minute conversation of how does this apply to you, and for me to help you find where you might be blocking some freedom in your life, maybe some limitations, some limiting beliefs, some belief patterns that you may not even realize you have. This was me. I love being coached by other people now. I did not used to like being coached, but now I love it. It's an absolute blast to have someone who can kind of see your blind spots that you can't see for yourself and to help you work through that in a fun, easy way. It doesn't have to be hard. It's just a few questions, a few perspective shifts, a few like, well, what if this, so anyhow, those are available. 30-minute completely free consultation calls for every person who registered. My calendar is blocked off. There's a Calendly link available to you. It's in your email as well. If you don't see a time that works for you, please reach out and let me know. I would be happy to schedule you at a different time that we can find that works for both of us. So let's see here. And like I said, the replays, as a quick reminder again, the replays are available on YouTube. They're emailed out every day and they'll be coming down on Friday. So if you need to catch up or want to watch again or share it with someone, that's there. And so as far as today goes, we're going to move into shifting perception, and then Katie House is going to share her story with us. I see her on here today. So excited for her. You guys are definitely going to want to hang around for that because I know she's going to bless your socks off. I'm excited to hear firsthand too. I haven't heard I keep up with her. We're friends and things, but she's just had a baby, so we haven't got to visit a lot. So I'm so excited to hear from her today as well. So let's just jump in. So we have plenty of time for that. We are on page 8 in our workbook. Shift perception with gratitude. So how do we shift our perception? The catalyst, the main ingredient, the secret, the whatever you want to call it, to switch from a negative to a positive is gratitude. So that was what I wrote the second chapter on in the book, because those are the two things. Remembering I had a choice and then bringing in gratitude, because we are humans. We're not light switches. We don't just go from off and just now I'm on, I'm happy. Well, that didn't work for me. And so, and I would get frustrated as I would listen to things. And there were some mentors I tried to work with that were like, oh, well, just change your thought. And I'm like, well, it's here in my world though. I don't know how to just change that. So what I found was when I became grateful for things, like truly grateful, actually felt grateful for what I had right now, it really started to shift the emotional energy that I was feeling. So, becoming aware of something, perception is just becoming aware of something through the senses. So, a lot of times the negative is speaking so much louder to us, and that's what's on repeat over and over again. So, that's what seems to show up for us so often. And it is like the fire that we're constantly trying to put out, all of these things. What if, though, what if you could start to perceive and become aware of things to be grateful for? Because your magnet for that, your attractor for that, which is always turned on, is tuned to gratitude. What if you reprogram what's going on up here and you find gratitude, and then you practice gratitude, and then you start to draw things to you to be grateful for? It's a very cool process. So as we come in here, is the perception you hold of yourself right now, of yourself and of life, is it currently serving you? Would you say that the way that you see life and the way that you see yourself is in a way that serves you well? Do you believe you can change that in an instant? This was another like, oh, aha moment to me, was when I pictured changing something in my life, I always pictured it being way out there. And I think that that felt comfortable to me, because the closer something gets to actually changing or being different, I'll kind of freak out. I didn't like change. Even though I didn't really like where I was, I had become accustomed to it and it felt comfortable. It felt familiar. So if we stretch out and we reach into something that's uncomfortable and it's unfamiliar, sometimes we have a tendency to retreat back because we don't know what the heck's going on. We don't know how to do that. But here's the thing, we're all always learning something new. I had never been married before. I had to learn how to be a wife. I had never had a kid before. I had to learn how to be a mom. I never had 2 kids. I never had 3 kids. You've never been a grandmother before. You've never been a working mom before. I've never been, like, we're all constantly growing and elevating. It does not matter what phase of life we're in. Maybe you've never had 10 grandkids before. Maybe you've never, all the things that you're doing today, we all are always doing something new. So what is your perception of it going to be, though? How are you going to experience it? So do you believe that you can change your perception in an instant like this? Not tomorrow, not when you start to see money coming in, not when you start to see pounds coming off, not when you start to see so-and-so treating you better, whatever the situation is. Do you believe that the lens through which you look through and that you see things, and especially the way that you see yourself, that you have the power to change that in an absolute instant? And once I started to believe this and I started to practice it, that changed everything, because we're not living in the past. A lot of us are repeating the past, thinking that we're in the past, but we don't live in the past and we don't live in the future. We are living in this present moment right here. So in an instant, you have the ability to change the way that you experience life. The Bible says in Matthew 7:7, you will find what you seek. That is an absolute promise. So what lens are you looking through? What are you looking for? What are you seeking? That's not a guess that, well, you're going to get whatever you're looking for, but that's a promise. Are you looking for the good in every situation, or are you tuned to a high positive vibration or a low negative one? I used to look, I was like a complainer, and sometimes I catch myself still. I think a lot of times we complain because we are not in alignment with something. It doesn't feel good because it's not in alignment with who we really are. And so when you walk into a situation or you're with people or whatever, are you always looking for the good in everything? Are you always looking for how it could work out? Are you always looking for how people are showing up for you and how things are going well for you? Do you see it? Are you tuned to it? Because you will get what you are looking for. On page 9, it says, we change for one of two reasons, either benefit or pain. Which of the two currently motivates you to change? Almost 90% of change happens out of pain. The pain gets too much. Even, physically, we'll start paying attention to our bodies when they start to hurt. We'll start paying attention to our bank account when the numbers are going down. We'll start paying attention to whatever it may be. Like, I know, like, having a messy house might not be painful, but the annoyance of it, I guess, we sometimes our nervous system and things are so overwhelmed, we're so overstimulated, we've got all these things going on that we're doing, that change, it doesn't occur to us that change is required until we are in a state of pain. So pain doesn't have to be a bad thing either. Pain can simply be a flag saying, hey, it's time for this to change. We don't have to look at our pain or our suffering or our whatever through the lens of it's a bad thing. It is just asking for change. So think of an emotionally impactful event. This could be positive or negative. A lot of times the negative is what comes up first. Did it change you? There's instances when we lose people or a tragic accident or something happens. In an instant, your life was changed. There are also positive moments when you got married, when you had that baby, when, something worked out at the job, you got a huge promotion, or, something drastically changed your life. Those moments impact us emotionally. So what if you could bring your emotions in to your, let's say, manifesting process? Because high emotional impact has an effect on us that changes our life. What if you could use this to your benefit? What if you could use positive emotions to create something different in your life? So emotional impact and repetition. Just like the programs you run through your mind now are kind of on autopilot and they're just repeated over and over, you can reprogram those through repetition, and emotional impact is what kind of seals the deal and makes it real for you. It brings you into being something different than what you are right now when you can feel it. So I used to not want to feel anything. I didn't want to feel the sad. I didn't want to feel mad. I really didn't like being sad. I would rather be mad than be sad. Because when I'm mad, I at least can I can keep going. I can keep hustling. I can grind. I can do these things. I can, whatever it is. So if I was mad, I still felt productive in a way or whatever, but I hated being sad. But there were some things that I didn't really let myself be sad about. That I was just, my body was saying, like, just feel this and work through it and move through it. So, your emotions and your ability to process emotions and to actually let yourself feel them, the sad ones, the negative ones, the whatever, that will actually open the door and allow you to feel the good, positive, happy ones. Because as long as you're blocking things out emotionally, you're not only blocking out the positive and the negative, that wall's up for all emotions. The joy, the happiness, the excitement, the anything. Sometimes we just become numb as a survival mechanism. And so I love to help people open up, process some emotions, and then switch over into feeling emotions that they want to feel. Okay, so on page 10, there's a Bible verse there that says, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. And then below there in the same chapter, it says, do not quench the spirit. And I really think if we just look right up there, the way that we do not quench the spirit, we love having that power within us and feeling that within us. So to be connected spiritually, the way we don't quench that, we don't cut that off, that means it's there for everyone. The spirit is there unless we quench it off. So if you go back up, it says, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, in everything. Woo, that's a big one. I feel like I skim over that a lot. In everything, give thanks. No, in everything. Everything that's tough, everything that's good, everything that is sad, everything that feels mad or angry or annoying to you, in everything give thanks. That's where your power comes from. That is how you stay open to receiving the spirit within you. So when we think about expressing gratitude, how do we give thanks? And everything give thanks. Okay, well, are we just like, oh, I'm thankful for that? Well, okay, did you actually slow down? Did you actually feel it? Did you actually connect? Do you speak gratitude to people? Some people like to sing. Some people like to write. Some people, I think sometimes even men express their gratitude by, I mean, and women too. I feel like men do this more so like a physical sense of like exercise or taking care of their body or just like expressing emotion through physical activity. So the opposite of expression is depression. So if we're feeling depressed, if we're feeling sad and we're feeling down, are we fully expressing ourselves? And if our words do have power, are we expressing words that speak what we would choose, what we would love to happen in our life? The best way, if you can't get there just instantly, is to just start speaking gratitude over everything. I'm thankful that I'm still here. I'm thankful that I get another chance today. I'm thankful that I get to start over. I'm thankful that his mercies are new every morning. I'm thankful for my body to show up today. I'm thankful for the people around me. I'm thankful for the sunshine. Thankful for the rain. I mean, just start with simple things. Because when I first got my gratitude journal and I started writing, I got to about 5 and I was stuck. I was like, I don't know. Just I literally had trouble finding things to be grateful for. So just start with simple things and start expressing it in some way. What is left on the screen of the mind will manifest in a physical form. Bob Proctor says that. So if you think about a computer screen or your TV screen, you might watch a whole movie and then you get to the very end of the movie and it's that last scene that you go to bed and you still keep thinking about. It's kind of that last scene, like that is usually what stays in your mind and it manifests into physical form. So yes, we can acknowledge, okay, this thing happened and I feel this way about it. Okay, and now I choose to find gratitude in that. And I choose this instead. And that is the last thought on the screen of your mind. So down below, there's space for you to list 5 things that you're grateful for and notice how you feel. I know this is such a simple thing to do. And sometimes I think we look over simplicity. But there's power in simple moments and simple things. So take a moment there, list 5 things you're grateful for that you actually feel grateful for. Okay, as you're wrapping that up, if you need to pause the video, you can if you're watching the replay or whatever. But really take time to connect into that. And I encourage you to actually do it. And if you want to list more than 5, keep going. Because that puts you in a flow. That is elevating your vibrational frequency higher and higher, and is putting you in a state of openness and a state of flow. And that's a beautiful place to be. And momentum carries you a long ways. Okay, on page 11, it says, a man with no vision for his future always returns to his past. If you do not have a vision for your future, if you do not change what you see in your imagination first, you will continue repeating what you know from your past. If you do not like it, you have to go up here and create something different first. Everything is created twice. It is first created in the mind, and then it's brought into physical form. People who are engineers, people who created the iPhone, medical equipment, cars, anything, it first started in someone's mind. And they had to somehow get that out of their mind and into our physical world so we could even understand what it is or how it works or all of that stuff. So in order for you to create something different in your life, it takes you doing the internal work first of actually seeing it. Okay, so you're on page 11. There's room there for you to list 30 things that you would love. So once I started to feel some gratitude about things, and I was like, oh, okay, like I am grateful. I love this. I was asked, like, what would you love in life? I had no idea. Like I said yesterday, it'd been a really long time since I thought about me and what I would actually love to have in my life. Had I all the money in the world, had I all the time in the world, had I the support and the, you know, team to make the things happen. And, if life were great and grand, what would I absolutely love? Because the only limitations are the ones in your mind. Everything you need is right here. There's trillions upon trillions of dollars floating around in the world. They just might not be in your hands right now. Are you a vibrational match to that? Do you actually believe it's possible, or do you go ahead and cap yourself off and limit your own self? There is time in a day. People are doing things with their days and they're very efficient with their time. Are you efficient with your time? There are people everywhere who are, as Abraham Hicks says, cooperative components. She says, be a cooperative component to the things that you desire. They're all out there. The people are there. Are you a match to them? Could you attract them into what you are doing because of who you are being? Dan Martell, he has so much good information on, you have to create something big enough, not only for your dreams to fit inside of, but for other people's dreams to fit inside of. Like, are you stretching and expanding in order to create the capacity to receive more money or more people or more employees or more clients or more whatever it is? All of that starts right within you first. So what is your vision though? What is your vision for your future? So list down there 30 things that you would love. These can be goals. These can be experiences, vacations you would love to have. Would you want to see the beach? You want to go to the mountains? You want to, whatever it is. This could be material things. These could be achievements that you'd like to have, anything. And I really encourage you to stretch and go beyond what feels comfortable. Because as Abraham Hicks says too, it's as easy to manifest a button on a shirt as it is to manifest a castle on a hill. It is your belief in it. So if you believe that you truly get what you ask for, why go small? Why? Or not even, it doesn't even have to be big and grand or this fabulous thing in life, but why limit yourself to what you only think that you're capable of? What if there was so much more? So think through that, and really, like I said, stretch. Pretend like you have all the money in the world. Pretend like you have the time, you have the support, you have the resources, you're smart enough to do it, you can figure it out. What if all of those components were there and you were the only thing that was not cooperating because you limited yourself? So put that down, because tomorrow we're going to use this list for tomorrow in creating a whole new self-image of you. Your image of yourself, a lot of it comes down to what you desire. Like, this will be a roadmap to help us get to where we're going tomorrow. So I'm going to give you guys some time to do that as we bring Katie on here. I'm so excited to have her. She's got her sweet baby Sunny. Oh my gosh. I want to go squeeze her. Anyhow, Katie and I met over 2 years ago, because our babies are two. Our first, my last born, her second to last, are about the same age. And we got to know each other, and then she became a coaching client of mine. And we just kind of stayed in touch after that. And then as my business started growing, and I was like, oh, I need more hands. And I was like, she's been through the program. Oh my gosh, she would be perfect. She is an amazing, amazing person. And I love her perspective. I love just so many things about her. I'm not even going to keep talking about her. I'm going to let her talk about her and her life, and you're just going to get to know her. So Katie, come on here, girl.
Thank you. Yeah, I love your and I's story, and just kind of how it was just so clearly like orchestrated by the Lord, you know, when exactly our paths crossed and how, and like at this point in your career and like expanding your business and with these babies and all other kinds of, you know, stuff that has happened since we've met each other, and just how super obvious it is to see God's hand on all of it, you know? So very lucky to know you and to be here. And so is Sunny.
Hi, oh my gosh, she is
So she's
precious.
6 weeks old, which is absolutely crazy. It's crazy how the last 6 weeks of pregnancy feels like a year. And then the first 6 weeks of your baby's life feels like a couple days, you know, absolutely wild, but we're doing great.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we're so glad y'all are here. So tell them a little bit about like where were you before we dove into mindset work together and did some of those things?
Yeah. So I'll go back to like flashback to like even before I became a mom. Okay, so the type of person that I am, like I'm a very have it all figured out kind of person, a very type A, very organized, and all that. So when I found out that I was pregnant with my first baby, you know, I was doing all the research, I was reading all the books, I was, you know, there was, you know, there's all these studies that say that, you know, X, Y, and Z will give us the best results and behavior or the best, you know, method of whatever it is when it came to kids. So I was determined to know all the things and to have, you know, all the resources, to have the highest kind of standard for myself. And I set myself up for a lot of failure and a lot of hardship by doing that for myself. So I would say before I met you, I was stuck in this revolving door of having these wild expectations for myself and constantly feeling like I was not measuring up in any of the areas to that. So I would go through like just lots of motivation and feeling super, super down and super, super just stuck. You know, I was stuck and I felt just kind of like I was being held captive by the cycles that I had created for myself. Like you said, like if we don't make the conscious decisions to get out of the things that aren't working for us, that's where we're going to stay. And so that's where I was at. And you know, kind of just being just in the throes of motherhood, you know, and of feeling like I had to accept that everything was just hard and that I was just going to be horribly exhausted and I was just going to be that I would be, you know, happier later at this stage when they got this old, or you know, when my husband was home this amount of time more, or if I had another job and I was bringing in more money. I was always kind of like, well, happiness is down the road, and right now I just kind of have to suffer through this hard stuff, and someday it'll just magically come, you know. And so I think that's where I was at, you know, before we started working together.
Yeah, I think so many people feel that that it's out there, but bringing it into here right now and realizing we have the power to do that is something else. So what kind of tell them a little bit about your experience working together and kind of the changes that started happening for you and what that was like.
Yeah. So there's that Chinese proverb that says, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that is so true. And so I was ready. And I think we all need to recognize, whether we're here right now on live or we're watching this on a replay or whenever it may be, that we're here for a reason, because we're ready to receive change, and we're ready to see ourselves in a new way. And I love to focus on the self-image, because that is kind of the first thing that we worked on together, and that seeing myself as worthy and changing the way that I looked at myself was what really was the catalyst, I think, of all of the other change. It started with you loving me in the state that I was in, and me then taking that out and doing my best to love other people in the state that they're in, and my own family and stuff like that, and how beautiful loving someone exactly where they are can be. And then yeah, and that helping me to love myself in a completely different way, and seeing myself as worthy and as beautiful and as precious as children, like you were saying yesterday. And what a crazy feeling that is, to feel, to try to see yourself as an adult that same exact way, because we are. And so I've shared before, and I'll always share, that you are just the best at telling us hard things in the right way. You have such a gift of speaking to people and how they are going to best receive it, but you don't shy away from things that we need to hear. Because when we're ready for change, it's usually not things that we can hear very simply and just apply automatically. You know, we kind of have to hear the hard parts of where those things are in ourselves, and how to digging that stuff up. But you do it in such a gentle and beautiful way that helps us feel like we're being empowered. It is coming from us, and you're just helping us to dig that out from deep under, and bringing it to the surface. And so yeah, just working with you is just feeling cared for, but also feeling like the hope that you see in each of your students and in everyone that attends the summits, and everything else that you seeing them, loving them as they are, and also seeing them in their full potential, and helping us bridge the gap to get ourselves there. And also just that that's never a pressure of a finish line, you know, and just the freedom in that in itself, is that we're not in a race. We're not rushing to get to the end. There is not really an end. There is not an end, but that's a freeing, beautiful freedom in the work, is getting to know that and have peace in that and rest in that and be motivated in that freedom too, because that's where we find success, you know, and in the freedom that we allow ourselves to have, that we already have, that we have to choose.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, that's and I love that. Like I love holding, like helping you realize what's inside of you, and then holding you to that, holding you to your highest, truest potential. And it's love and forgiveness that is just the catalyst to all change, and not pressure and pushing. And oh my gosh, yes, girl, that is so good. Like you have like such grace when you speak. I'm like, yes, that's what it is. Okay, so tell us a little bit about like what's your experience of life like now? Like what's been the differences that you're seeing in your postpartum experience, and just anything in general?
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say, with my other, postpartums, I struggled. I mean, I felt fully defined and encompassed and limited by that season. And it was a waking up every day and feeling exhausted and drained, and telling myself, you didn't get any sleep, you're going to be so tired, it's going to be such a hard day, the kids are going to be so much more difficult because you have no energy and no patience. And so it was that every time that I told myself it was, I could know for sure that that was coming, and it did feel impossibly hard, and really difficult to like recover from. And so it felt like that drug on for months and months and months, until I somewhat let myself feel like, I had enough reason to feel okay-ish, and so after, the work that we've done together over the past, 2 years, and the way that I have seen how much more in control I am than I have ever thought I was, of the way that I experience my situations, it's been entirely different this time around. I have truly felt like I have had the freedom and given myself the freedom to experience the full joy of this season. And like, you know, we hear from our mothers and our grandparents and just, you know, wise women older than us of it goes by so fast and appreciate every moment. And to be honest, before we worked together, it would really irritate me to hear that. It was frustrating and irritating. I'm like, don't you remember? You know, don't you? And and it wasn't out of any kind of, you know, anger with them. It was a lack of perception, and that's something that we gain as we grow older, is perception, to look at things differently and to experience things differently. And that's why we see our moms as grandparents and we think, who are you? Like, this is not, you know, this is not how you were with me. But they've gained perception and they can see it in a whole different light and a whole different temporariness, you know. And that's why it's so different. And so through that time now, I get those comments and I can say to the fullest of my ability, I am giving myself the freedom to experience and soak in and like truly experience that joy and the happiness of this season and the fleetingness of these like little moments with her, and to be able to still be present with my other kids who I homeschool. You know, they're here 24/7. You know, it's not like we're getting a lot of you know, breaks to just kind of rest in our own little mother baby bubble. But this time around, being aware of my, you know, internal monologue, the things that I'm saying about my children, the things that I'm giving my very limited time and energy to, and seeing those things continue to flourish, even feeling a little weaker right now in this season. But being able to, I think sometimes I had a limiting belief that growth is only like these very obvious milestones, you know, like it's like when you reach this goal, when you cross this big thing off your list, you know, that's growth. And I think one of the biggest things that I've, you know, learned is that the most intense growth that I have experienced is being able to sit in despair and whatever hardness that I'm in, and to be grateful, you know, and to like you said, like not like little, oh yeah, I'm grateful for that or whatever, but to sit in it and to like let the gratitude wash over you and to truly feel it. I mean, it changes everything. You know. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that, for being able to experience this season that is challenging with like true joy, and to be able to be grateful for the women who have shared with me, you know, and who have reminded me that it's temporary, and it's and that they miss it, you know. and yeah, just kind of being able to have perspective change.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about bringing me to tears. Because it's such a precious moment that we don't get back, that sometimes it leaves us before we find the gratitude for it. And I think that that's something that we can look back sometimes and almost, I don't know if regret is the correct word, but yeah, I think when we see life in each moment, that you don't get that back. So you might as well make the absolute most of it while you're in it, you know? So I love that. So tell us just a little bit about, because I want them to have a little bit more perspective. So Katie has 5 kids. This is her 5th baby. And tell us a little bit about the kitchen situation and your pregnancy throughout the whole, how very sick you were.
Yeah. So I have had hyperemesis with my last, I mean, I guess all but my first pregnancy. So for my 4 last babies, which is just severe nausea and vomiting. So not like regular morning sickness, but talking throwing up, you know, 15 plus times a day, and needing to get you know, IVs to just keep me hanging in there. And it obviously I feel like, you throw up one time and you're kind of done for the day. Like you're in a fog the rest of the day. You're not, if you're, if that's it, it kind of takes it out of you. And so being a stay-at-home homeschooling mama, with four little girls and being extremely sick and pregnant was very, very challenging. And so I, during my pregnancy, worked hard to keep my focus, my limited energy where it needed to be. But it was challenging. It was not, it was challenging. And I had to, um, you know, just make sacrifices and do things kind of differently while I was pregnant in preparation for, my postpartum this time, and kind of just being aware of what my needs would be and of how to best set myself up, for success with her after she was born. So then also during my pregnancy and being super sick, we found out that our kitchen was just completely covered in mold. So like all the way down through the insulation to the studs of the entire kitchen was just caked in horrendous mold. And it just happened on like a weird hunch of I told my husband, hey, can you go cut this thing? And he opened it up and boom, mold. So kitchen was gutted down to the studs. I was doing dishes in the bathtub every day, throwing up next to the bathtub and the toilet, going back to finish my dishes, going back to tend to the kiddos, and try to get all our lessons in, and and all of that. So it was a lot. It definitely felt like a lot. And we were also doing all the work to renovate the kitchen on our own. So that was having to come in between all of those things. And this is something that would, before we worked together, have been completely debilitating. I probably just would have shut down and been wallowing in a pity party for the remainder of that time until it resolved. Because it's easy to do that when things get overwhelming, is to just, okay, well, we'll be happy again when this is over. And and so yeah, it was not without complication. I would say.
Yeah. Like it's easy to be grateful in moments that are good. It's easier. But in those tough moments where you look around and what is going on in your outside world is not feeling so great. But to bring gratitude in and still find a way to feel grateful and to feel good about it. Like it's so empowering, like you said, like that gives you your power back to enjoy it all as you're in that season. I think
Yeah.
that's so awesome. I'm so proud of you. Like I am so proud of you.
I'm thankful, and you know what? I think one of the biggest things is just being thankful to be able to empower the people that I love to also find this for themselves, and to continue to do the work, because it changes, everyone around you too, and you see it in how you attract those people to your life when you make those changes, and what comes to you and around you, and the way the way that people change when they're around you, and when you bring that different energy to the room, and when you bring that energy into your family, into your marriage, into your business, whatever that you're bringing that into, and you watch the way that it changes around you. It's so much more than just one thing. When you choose to do this work, it is a ripple that you will continue to see in a million different ways for the rest of your life, and that's what's been the coolest thing to see is how it's spilled over into every single part of my life.
Yeah, because I think we worked together as far as coaching is concerned to over 2 years ago. And this is still the impact. She's still doing it. It's not like and this is what I've seen with a lot of my clients is we work together. They have results, they're doing the things, but they continue doing it. Like it's not just dropped immediately afterwards. Like it is a lifestyle. It is a way of being that is like permanently imprinted within you now because you are choosing it, and you learn how to wake up and choose it again and again and again. And like she just said, the ripple effect, she did it for herself, but we have to go first sometimes. We cannot expect everyone else around us to change and wait for everyone else around us to change in order for our life and our experience of life to change. It starts within us, within the way that it impacts so many other people. Like it is about you in the beginning, but then it's not about you. It is the coolest transformation to see how it continues on outside of you. So one last question. When you were thinking about working with me, what was the thing that was like, okay, I'm in, I'm going to do it?
Oh goodness. Well, I could go on. There's a million reasons. But seeing your energy and your joy, and I don't remember exactly the conversation that we had, but it was something about touching on, my worthiness to make that investment in myself. And that was another, something I had to relearn, financially and stuff like that was I'm still working heavily in the in the finance department. The work is never done, right? The work is never done. But you helping me just to see my worthiness in that, and then to consider too the gift that I was giving to my children by doing that, because and it's not true in every situation, but I've read something along the lines of how the battles that we choose not to fight are battles that we're choosing to pass down to our kids to let them fight. If we're going to struggle with our views with certain things or whatever, and we're just going to they'll experience us fighting that, and if we don't overcome it and have the tools to teach them how to overcome that themselves, and they'll have to figure it out someday. And so you helping me see that made it very, very clear that it was worth the exchange and energy and the time to do it. And it has been the most incredible gift to all of us. And I will not forget when I really started seeing the changes in it. And Georgia, my oldest daughter, telling my husband, "Mom is happier, isn't she?" And she said something along the lines of, it was easier to listen to me, like in terms of like being obedient. And that was like the click moment of this is huge work and it seems like you said, like it's simple concepts, but simple doesn't mean easy, but it is purposeful, and it is simple, but it's powerful too. And yeah, I could go on for a million years about you, Lauren. We just love you.
Yes, I know. I keep looking at the time. I'm like, okay. But awesome. Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing it. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for your family, and that like you continue. I know that today's over perception, but like I feel like your perception, your awareness just continues to grow and grow and grow. Like there's just more and more and more that you see and that you're experiencing, and your capacity to do so has grown also. They just went on vacation with 3 weeks postpartum also, and she was like, I don't know about that, but they did it, and so, and it's not always about doing more and having more and being more, but like just the pure authentic joy and gratitude that she has in life. Like I can see it in her too, and it's so cool because we've seen each other grow, and so it's just been really fun. Anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
I actually wanted to check my note really, really quick, but no, I'll just wrap it up because I made my notes too messy. But thank you for having me on. And I just want to encourage anyone who's here to continue to reflect on why you're here, and to not let it end at this, because while it seems like simple concepts, it helps so much to have someone to guide you through it and to hold you accountable, to encourage you, and to help you reach into depths and areas that you wouldn't necessarily maybe get to on your own. But thank you so much for having me on, Lauren.
I appreciate you so much making time for us. I know it is not easy with everything you have going on, and tell your girls thank you for sharing their mama with us. Sweet Sunny, you have a good day. Oh my gosh, she's so precious. Really do appreciate you sharing with us and just pouring and loving everyone who's here today and everyone who's going to watch the replay. Okay, so if these things are resonating with you and you're like, oh my goodness, how do I find out more? How do I work? How do we work through these things? What do we do? Let's chat about it. Like, let's figure out. I do have a couple options. We have a 6-month option. That is where you will get the most benefit. If that option is not working for you right now, that's okay. I have a 6-week option that is basically a toolbox that I give you, and I walk you through how to use the tools and things, and then you can go out and implement more on your own as you continue working through things. So Transform is our 6-month course. That's where we sit down. We do weekly lessons every week for 6 months, and we do weekly group sessions. So our community is amazing, and they're so encouraging, supportive. You're meeting together with people that are working through things in a similar way, with a similar mindset and a similar fashion. And the energy, the collective energy that we give each other it's awesome. And so we embody things every Tuesday. We take what we're learning and we actually embody it, and we make it real to us. We apply it to us, because knowledge is great, but it's not powerful. The power comes from the implementation of the knowledge and the actual doing and the actual being of it, identifying as it. And there's so many things that we can take and slow down and really embody and be a different version of us. So we work on mental health, we work on physical health, we work on spiritual health. We elevate those 3 things, and then we start to integrate them, and then we start to move forward. So I also do one-on-one sessions every other week, and unlimited messaging. So any support that you need throughout, I send a ton of voice messages, and I'm in constant communication with you. I'm right there beside you, holding your hand and leading you through, and I'm not leaving you behind. Like, I refuse to let you sit there any longer. If you are stuck, you will not be stuck by the time I get done with you in 6 months. So anyhow, that is what is open for enrollment right now. It is 10% off through Monday. So that discount is quite a big savings for the 6-month program. And if you are a previous client of mine, if you've done the 6-week program or you've done any one-on-one coaching, you can take that investment up to $500 and apply it towards the 6-month program. So I love to see people continue to grow. I do not want you to stop growing. I want you to continue growing every single day. And so by investing in yourself, you can just turn around and reinvest in yourself with what you've already invested. So I want you to be able to use your money for yourself, to keep going. So yeah, I've seen, Katie's story is just a true testament to the changes that she's seen and gone through. And then like I mentioned yesterday, there's clients that have had exponential growth in their business because of the new identity that they built of their self, because the confidence they started showing up with, the clarity that started to come through to them and how they're moving forward. Relationships healed, with parents, with their children, within their marriage is healed and restored. Health issues resolved. So many things, and it all starts right between your ears, like right in your mind. That is where it starts. And that is not where it ends, but that is where it all starts. And that is the one thing that we can change together. And then to see it trickle out in so many areas of life is just, like, it gets to be so fun. It truly is a joy and an honor to walk alongside you. And I get to, there are some uncomfortable moments, there is some friction sometimes that comes up, that your old pattern starts to try to kick back in. And that's where a coach comes in and says, no, I'm going to remind you of who you said you are. Not who I say you are, or who you need to be, or who your parents said you need to be, but who you are choosing to be. And I'm going to hold you accountable to that until you become it. One of my coaches said, borrow my belief in you until you believe it for yourself. And I believe that now I'm on the other side of that, getting to do that for other people. And it's an absolute blast. So, okay, replays are coming down Friday. If you would like to, see what options are available to you, see how we can best work together, that enrollment is open until Monday, 10% off. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Bring your list of 30 goals and things. Really sit down with that tonight. If you didn't have time to finish it, sit down with it, go through it. Give yourself the opportunity to use your imagination, to think beyond your limitations, to just explore and have fun. Like, have fun writing things down. Make it enjoyable for yourself. To do that. And I'm trying to find the chat box. I don't know where it went. There it is. do that and then come back tomorrow. We're going to move into creating your new self-image, and it'll also be open Q&A. So if you have questions, send them to me. If you want to send them privately to me, well, be anonymous questions, that's fine too. Send me the questions. I'll be happy to walk through anything, whether it be, more of a coaching thing or more of a, how do I work with you, more on the program or on whatever you need help with, please send me a message and I'll be happy to take some time tomorrow to answer those. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow at 11:30. Thank you again so much, Katie. And thank you guys for being on. I really appreciate your time today and I hope that you enjoyed it. See you guys tomorrow.